All right, welcome back, everyone. Lovely to see you all as always. So let's begin by going straight into the superpower state. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state however you normally do that. So by using your word or phrase, using your anchor, or by focusing in on everything you love and appreciate about your subject. Very good. And feel your heart opening, that expansion feeling in your chest. Allow that feeling to expand as that light or energy shines out from you. Then allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. Very good. And allow that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each cell just for existing. Very good. Good job. And now allow that light or energy to fill that little you, yourself as a child. Loving that child just for existing. Good job. And then allow that light, that energy, that power to overflow from that little you and fill your whole childhood, shining that light into any darkness, flooding everything, everyone, every event, every circumstance, every experience with that light, that beautiful, bright light, that energy, that love. Very, very good. And now allow that light or energy to fill everyone who's on the call today, everyone who's on camera, all those who are off camera today. Love each one just for existing. And allow yourself to receive that love, that light, that energy from everyone else, including me. Very, very good. Good job, everybody. All right, you can open your eyes. And before we check in with everyone today, I want to share something that I only discovered this morning, and it is just, it's so brilliant for many reasons. For many reasons, two main reasons. Number one is the funniest, by far, TED Talk I've ever seen. He's very good, very funny, hilarious. And number two, and of course, most importantly, it's incredibly powerful and empowering. He's basically saying a lot of what we say in a different way and a much funnier way. So it just will help you see it from a different perspective and perhaps get things on a different level. So I'm going to share that here in the chat, and those who are watching the recording will make sure there's a link to that in the description or in the show notes. And his name is Shawn Achor, Shawn spelled S-H-A-W-N, Achor, A-C-H-O-R. He's a psychologist, author, and speaker, and he is, I don't know if I haven't researched him much yet, but he's either the founder of, or certainly a sort of promoter of positive psychology. So you can look that up, but watch that TED Talk because just for a good laugh, apart from anything else. And also you'll get so much from it. We're very, very excited. And one of the things, this is everything he says in that video are some of the main reasons that we do what we do, we teach what we teach, and that we are, for those who are in America, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, why we are recommending the happy coffee, the happy beverages, because again, it's another way of achieving what he's talking about in the video. So one of the things he says that I love, I'm just putting together a quote for us at the moment, is dopamine, which, as we know what that is, of course, because we talk about it we talk about that quite a lot. But he says dopamine, which floods your system when you're positive, has two functions. The truth is it has more than two functions, but he's referring to two. Not only does it make you happier, it also turns on all the learning centers in your brain, allowing you to adapt to the world in a different way. And I love the way he's put that. I think that's really, really well put. Of course, it is what we've been saying, and he's talking about prefrontal cortex, but he's just said it in a different way that I think makes it really accessible and from a different perspective. So I wanted to share that with you and enjoy. And now let's check in with each person, find out how you're doing. So Sue, how are you today?
I'm fine now.
Okay, good.
But I was just saying to Steve this morning, I was very, very triggered.
Okay.
And I actually ended up I made an appointment with a normal EFT practitioner because I just felt like I was going to pop.
Okay.
And it was actually quite interesting because just talking to her, I mean, we didn't do a hell of a lot of tapping, but just talking to her, it reminded me of becoming centered.
Mm-hmm.
And then she asked a whole lot of questions, and then this little thing about a bird came up, as sort of, because she asked, like what animal, whatever, and it was this bird, and it was a wagtail.
Uh-huh.
And then it all just slotted in as to why it was a wagtail, and that is now my anchor. And I was able to do it while I was cooking the dog's food just now, when you were serving the doggies food, while you were putting us through the superpower state. And yeah, it was really, really good. And it was just the bird. I would like to tell you the story because I think it's quite amazing how you can actually, I think, pull metaphors from the past or whatever's. And when we were on our Africa trip, and we were in Malawi, I noticed that on the beach by the lake where we were, there was just always a couple of wagtails. Not lots, just like maybe 2, sometimes 3. And there were quite a few people. And if a ball came its way, it would just hop off, and then it would just carry on doing what it was doing. It wasn't fazed by the ball and go like, oh my God, or anything like that. And then if people came past, it would just hop off. And if like sometimes it was windy and the waves came in, it would just pop off, but it would just carry on with what it was doing in this just beautiful, simple way. And then when we were in prison, a wagtail came in. And it was like my connection to that wagtail was my connection to the outside world and to actually something more than that.
How amazing is that?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, because that is remarkable.
Yeah. And then we have wagtails. We have wagtails here. That there's a little one that's got a part of a missing leg that it's been coming here since, I think, for the last 4 years, and we watched it as its leg, because it got some thread around its leg, and as its leg frotted, and then it became this little knob at the end of where a foot should be. But it's still happy. It still pops around. It goes and sits on the rocks. It sits a little bit shakily on the branches. And it sings its little tunes, and it's got a mate, and they make babies every year, or a baby. And this afternoon before the session, my son was here, and the little wagtail came right up to the door. The door was open, and it came right up to the door. And I was so elated because it was the little peg leg wagtail.
Yes.
Man.
Sue, that is fantastic. And thank you so much for sharing that, because that is number one, it's a fantastic example of the brain making those connections. And number two, that is such the wagtail, from the way you've described it, is such a beautiful, shiny example of what we can aim for in our own lives. And that the reason wagtails and other animals are like that. So whatever challenges they have, they keep going because they don't have the ability to think about and give meaning to whatever's happening to them. They just keep going because it doesn't mean anything to them. So that's a beautiful example.
Yeah.
And so while we're on that subject, I just want to check. So the prison, that's when you were kidnapped, right?
Yeah, and then we were tortured, and then we were sent to prison.
Right. So I just want to check that those memories are changed completely.
Yeah, I have I mean, like I can sort of like see it as though it's out there, but it's not of me.
Okay. And so have you replaced those memories with something else, those events?
Yeah, I mean, like the whole torture thing, that's still from long ago with you. Mm-hmm. On one of these sessions where the main guy that was the scariest one, mm-hmm. It's still, he's got the tutu and there's the fair.
Great.
You remember that?
Yes, I do. I remember it. I'm glad.
So that's that.
That's good.
The one, okay, that hasn't changed. Man, why hasn't that changed? I thought I had changed it, but obviously it didn't stick. The one when the guy came to fetch me after I'd been separated from the others and taken to Lusaka, and the man from the embassy came to fetch me, that still is a little bit raw.
Okay, good. So there's another route there, and another little reference. Yeah. Let's look at it quickly. So what's still remaining from that? Any emotions?
Oh yeah, it's like I want to cry.
Okay, good. So, wow. So very good,
surprise.
Sue. I'm glad we found it though. And the thing is that one may have been buried, or the original reference for it may have been buried, and now it's coming up because you've changed a lot of other stuff. So let me look at the emotion of feeling like you want to cry. Is that being triggered by a particular aspect of that memory, or you don't know what is triggering it specifically?
It's the first thing that comes to my mind is gratitude for some reason. Mm-hmm. I suppose, like it's a kind of a relief that somebody had actually come to save me from something that I had no idea, what my future held. I mean, I was there for 12 hours in the cell, and those 12 hours I had to keep switching, or even prior to that, the journey there, which was that another 12 hours. So it's like 24 hours of going like, wow, what is going to happen to me now?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so when he came, I thought that I was going to go to have a court hearing or something like that. But when the man came to take me out of the cell, and then when he came, then and I went into the charge office, and then he shouted across the thing, because there were lots of people in the room. That was just sort of like a relief, like like fall down kind of relief, like I can't believe this is just.
Yes, because you thought you were going to die, and so in that moment,
I don't know if I was going to die at that point, but I was expecting to be in prison for some time.
Okay.
And that the whole thing was like for something that I hadn't done, or that we hadn't done, but like that people would find. Maybe that's also why I get so triggered by what's happening here at the moment.
I would say so.
Wow.
Yes, I would say so. The injustice, it's not fair, the helplessness, all of that. Okay, so let's look at now, of course, let's look earlier than that event for the references for that event. So that feeling of, I don't know what's going to happen to me. let's look at that piece first of all. Where in your childhood did you feel that same feeling of, I don't know what's going to happen to me, whatever's there, whatever that feeling is?
I don't know what's going to happen to me.
Or whatever that feeling is that you've got, the main feeling that's
it's like somebody's writing my story for me. I'm not writing my story for me. You know, it's like a complete, I've had, you know, like it's in other people's hands.
Good, very good. And so where in your childhood did it feel like your fate or your life or your story was in someone else's hands? Someone else was writing your story?
Well, I suppose all through my childhood, because that was childhood, you know, like you listen to your elders, you know, you listened to your teachers, you did what they said, you didn't do what you wanted to do.
Yes.
Wow.
And so
Okay.
one experience stand out for you, for example, of that that represents that, and it may not seem to make sense, the first thing that comes to mind?
No.
Okay. All right. So then you want to rewrite your childhood basically, so that, and it doesn't have to take long, just a new memory from scratch of, you are always told, sweetie, what do you want to do? And you get to choose things. So create all kinds of new memories where that little you, that little Sue, gets to choose all kinds of things. Well, what would you like? Or what would you like to do? It's your turn to choose. Yeah? Create lots and lots of those, and create some of the memories where you are going, no, I don't want that. And they go, okay.
Okay.
I don't want that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that. I don't feel like it. And they go, fair enough. What would you like?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Very, very key, that a foundation thing, and for everyone. So everyone who's listening, create those memories, because childhood, the nature of childhood is that pretty much everything is beyond our control for a long time, and everything we need comes from outside of us. So create new memories from scratch, change any old ones that contradict it, and create new memories from scratch where you are choosing everything, and you are choosing not to have certain things, so that you have veto power over your own self, your experiences, what you eat, what you do, where you go, who you're with. You get the power to go, no, I don't want that. And they go, okay. All right. How does that
sounds good?
Good. So
Brilliant.
do that, establish that. Now let's look at the relief bit. So that feeling of relief, what can you feel it again now? So he's come to take.
Yeah, I can.
Good.
Sort of. Yeah. It's just sort of like a what is that relief? Yeah, it's sort of like a letting go.
Good. Very good.
And yeah, okay, I can feel it.
Good. So letting go of, and of course what that was in reality was a boost of dopamine and feel good chemicals to bring down, and that was bringing down those stress chemicals. So that feeling of relief was a kind of it's flushing through of those stress chemicals. So
yeah,
is it a good feeling now?
Yeah, except it's a sort of like I feel like it's a good feeling, but it was an unnecessary thing.
Right. Very good.
So that comes to justice, you know, like being,
what else?
Wow, oh my gosh, this fits in so much with what's going, because we're having quite problems here with the one political team who's like a terrorist organization who's going around doing all sorts of stupid things, and that's really been bothering me.
Yes, there you go. So that is perfect. So that thing of it being unnecessary, it's unnecessary. Yeah. So grab that, and now where in your childhood did you feel that same feeling of this is unnecessary, or that was unnecessary? And again, first thing that comes to mind, even if it makes no sense.
Oh my word. I can't pick up on anything that comes, nothing even comes, because it's sort of like, this is unnecessary, but it's sort of like a kind of a, beneath that, you know, that's the words, but beneath that is a sort of like a feeling of anger and justice.
Yes.
Which is, yeah, the same thing as having no choice.
Right. Okay, good.
So it takes me back to that.
Fantastic. Okay, that's great. That means that's a really good, strong reference there that you can change. Fantastic. So, so you want to change those, like, so, make up the new ones. You can watch this recording again to remind yourself, practice those new ones, and then come back to that experience and see what's still there. And of course, the final thing is you want to change where he came to fetch you. You want to change that to something else. So you weren't in, so perhaps I'm wondering if, I think you need a stepping stone there. I think you need a stepping stone where you were taken to the prison and he came immediately and said, oh, no, this is a mistake. No, you're wrong. And he takes you immediately.
Brilliant, yeah.
Justice is done. And those people are arrested for false arrest or whatever it was.
Okay.
Or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And make sure that those people who kidnapped you, who tortured you, who put you in prison, all of that, make sure that they are, the justice is done. They're arrested, they're whatever should happen to them.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's going to be
brilliant.
Very,
yeah, because I think that is key. Yeah.
Yes. And so once you've done that, so that's the stepping stone, practice it as many times as you want to or need to make sure that it's done. And then the final memory is, of course, instead of prison, it's something else. And he arrives and he's a celebrity, or he's got a present, or it's a surprise party, something like that. Make it the opposite, positive, empowering, fun, exciting.
Okay.
Sound good? Good job. So how do you feel?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
No, that feels great. And it's just so incredible how it's sort of like tying up with, what's happening now. And also, like what happened in Zimbabwe. And that's, it's bringing up all sorts of stuff, what's happening now. And that is all rooted, I suppose, in all of that sort of like, I don't have a choice kind of a thing.
That's it. Perfect and spot on. Yay. Well done, you. Good job.
Great stuff. Thanks
so much for sharing. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. And Lisa. Hi, Lisa. How are you today?
Oh, good. I really love that. That was very good, because I have a friend that's his mom contacted me this morning, and he's incarcerated right now because he was my daughter's bodyguard for many years because she had a show. And so he attracted people that weren't of integrity. So he was falsely accused. And so he's been being held at the jail right now. But anyway, somebody was killed there. So his mom contacted me and said that she's really worried. And so I've been sending love to all of that situation. So he was such a nice person. So I see him like in, like he's praying in a temple instead of in that situation. You know what I mean? So it's like, good thing I have this tool, because it's really hard, because we're all close, like family. So it's really unbelievable, but I can understand, with this tool that we all have, it's way better than going, you know what I mean? Because it makes it a lot easier to deal with a lot of heavy energy, So,
right.
So your conversation was very important for a lot of people to hear, because, everybody's situation is different,
Right. Very good. And that's quite right. And Lisa, I just want to double check here for you, is that what's the worst thing about him about the situation right now where he's incarcerated, and what's bothering you most about it, or worrying you most about it?
Because he's suicidal, and they're giving him medication. So his judgment is really off. He's not like the same person. So that's why I'm able to see him, and like he's somewhere praying, and he's safe and happy and full of love. And so, so we all love him a lot. And he's, like I said, he was a very nice person, but he just made a really off judgment. So, so things happen. So there's nothing you can do,
And so now, is there any at all worry or any other negative feelings or concerns that you may be pushing away, but that are there?
Well, the only thing I think of sometimes, but I send it love, is that the people behind this, they did they did a lot of false accusing and stuff like that. So that was just like, why are they lying so much? It's so weird. But it had to do a lot with jealousy. It's a whole thing. But yeah. So
Right.
I don't understand where that comes from. But it's not in my my situation. It's in their situation. But it is kind of weird that to see that from a distance.
So I see a link immediately.
Okay.
And feeling remind you of anything from your childhood?
Oh yeah, okay. Ding, ding, ding. Wow, okay. Wow. That's so interesting. And what's really weird is he has my dad's exact birthday too. So
Interesting.
So that's oh wow, okay.
So that's where you want to go. Make sure that it's, if there's any bits left, make sure they change the opposite, positive empowering, because it may be that there's little pieces, that you haven't seen before or you haven't found before that now you can see.
Wow. I felt that in my heart center just now. That's interesting. That's so good that you have this intuitive ability to see and it comes out. You're awesome.
Thank you. Well, we found, both Steve and I have found, that it's always easier to see someone else's stuff than your own.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah.
I haven't been able to see it, and Steve points it out for me, and I go, oh, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
But that is the nature of the brain. That's why that's why these programs are able to run uninterrupted on automatic for so long, and we don't see them, because that's the way we're designed. So someone else to spot it and go, oh, but that matches that, and then you go, oh,
yeah,
like having a blindfold taken off and go, oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. You don't realize, oh, that was huge. And then what's the beauty of it all is, like, you can look at something that's really dark and like, and go and send it love, and then be okay, and just like, oh, okay. And then the more you send it love, the less it gets, and it's just like lines with the divine. That's really good.
Exactly. But in addition to that, be sure to change those childhood memories as well. That's very important, because if you only do that first bit and you don't change the childhood memories, then that's like putting the bandage on an infested wound. Infected wound. Infested wound is a whole other story. So make sure that you clean out that wound first and change those memories first.
Wow, okay.
As well.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of cleaning up to do.
Yeah. and obviously, and would you like to address any of it now, or you want to do it on your own?
I'll do it on my own. I think I got it. That's brilliant. Thank you.
You can always let us know tomorrow if there's any sticky bits.
Okay, great. Thanks a million for that. Yeah.
Very good. Good job. And we'll put Steve, can we put Lisa's friend on our target list? All right. Very good. Good
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you.
All right. And next up on my screen is Swasti. Hi, Swasti.
Hello.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. So yesterday, so like I was talking to somebody, like a previous medicine person who was applying with me, like in the same cohort, and they got into medicine. But what was interesting was she got a lower IQ test score than me, and she got lower, like the exams that you do when you're 16. Like she got lower grades, so she got lower everything, but she still got in. Okay, so I was angry at the time, obviously.
Yeah.
I wrote a due justice letter because, about everything. So I was like, this is too much. I can't do this. And then this morning I got another one from somebody else, and they had like lower grades than me, but a slightly higher like IQ test score. Because those are like the two things that they consider for interviews. Okay, so that was, and that opened my eyes. I had like an enlightenment moment. I just thought, okay, wow, this is really cool. Because the thing is, like, it wasn't that I wasn't good enough, because I was.
Right.
But like I wasn't good enough to my parents, so I wasn't good enough to the unis, and I ended up like applying to the wrong unis that take the IQ tests more into account, so to make me not good enough. And I was like, oh, like obviously you said this to me so many times, but just like figuring that out by myself was really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Oh, good job, Swasti. I'm so proud of you and so excited for you. What a great example as well.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Perfect. And I know that you arrived a little later, and I want to make sure that you get this link, because I thought of you specifically, well, you and a couple of other people that aren't in this group, for this video. So I'm sharing the link here. I explained it earlier that this is well worth watching. Number one, it's hilarious, but number two, it's very powerful, and it's talking about happiness in the context that we speak about it, but he does it in a different way, and he's much funnier than us. And but one of the the things that stood, so I've made notes on all of these, made notes on what he was saying, and amongst it, here's an example. Your brain at positive, so when you're feeling happy, feeling good, is 31% more productive than your brain at negative, neutral, or stressed.
Oh, wow.
And you are, so for business people, you are 37% better at sales in that state. Doctors are 19% faster and more accurate in coming up with quick diagnosis when positive instead of negative, neutral, or stressed.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what he doesn't say, of course, the reason for that is the prefrontal cortex is back. That's why. But he he researched happiness at Harvard. He's a psychologist, and he went to Harvard and then stayed on at Harvard studying happiness. The science of happiness. So I highly recommend that video. You'll probably want to watch it several times. There's a lot of good stuff in it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And so going back to, of course, what I was saying yesterday, or whenever it was, your top priority is to feel good and enjoy what you're doing, because 37% more productive and creative.
Yeah, definitely.
31%, sorry. 31% more productive and creative. All right.
Yeah, thank you. But just quickly related to that, I knew I had like an issue with getting into the superpower last week, and then I got a little bit better. Now it's like back to that again, and I can't really, like, it's not as strong as it was used to be, and it's.
So let's look at that. So how are you getting, or how are you trying to get into your superpower, and what happens when you try? So what are you using?
So I'm just using my brother when he gets sleepy.
Yeah, lovely. And what happens when you do that, when you imagine holding your brother in your arms when he's sleepy?
So you say like hone into the characteristics, but I can't even see his face. I can just see like a blue blanket, and just like something inside it.
All right. Okay. And so when you, I'm assuming you have hugged your brother when he's sleeping. Okay. Now, can you remember doing that? Okay. And now, without any visual, you don't need to be able to see him. Can you remember the feeling of holding him in your arms?
Yeah.
Good. That's what you're looking for. It doesn't matter if you can't see. It doesn't matter if you can't see his face. It doesn't matter if it's just a blanket. You want to home in on the feeling that you felt when you have actually hugged him.
Okay.
So that's number one. And then number two is thinking about all the reasons you love him. So has he ever done anything funny? Is he sweet? You know, what do you love about your brother?
So is that whilst trying to get into that state, you think about that?
Yes, yes, that'll help to amp it up. So let's try it now. So imagine hugging him now. Can you do that?
Yeah. And
can you feel anything?
It's like slightly
okay.
Good, but not that good.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about why you love him.
He's just hilarious.
So I'd love to know.
He's just hilarious and so careless, so free, so authentic.
Yeah. And so as you describe these things, can you remember them? Can you so he's careless in your stuff? Yeah. Very good. And so as you remember that, can you feel anything?
Yeah.
Good job. There it is. So now it may be very faint still.
Yeah, it's faint.
Just keep homing in on that. So because also, you know, and I've noticed this with people, and I've noticed with myself at times, is that sometimes we are so focused on other things that and then somebody says, you know, are you happy or that? And we go, well, no. And we actually are, but we're not paying attention to it. So, or, you know, love, excitement, happiness, joy, sometimes it takes becoming aware and noticing it. So where in my body am I feeling it? What are the reasons I'm excited or happy or grateful or whatever? And as you do that, it may start off very faint, but the more you do it, of course, every time you do it, you're pumping feel-good chemicals into your system. So the more you do it, the more those chemicals flood through your system. And then you'll start to feel it stronger and stronger. And then it picks up momentum. Okay.
So is laughing's good as well? So yes. I just imagine him dancing like a girl.
Absolutely. And play that in your mind, that memory of him dancing like a girl. Just delight in it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what made me laugh. It's just funny. Okay.
Good. And the more you do that, the more then you'll bring down stress chemicals, start producing those feel-good chemicals, the endorphins and all of that. And then you'll be able to start feeling that love again, that superpower again.
Okay, so it's just practice over time. Okay.
Good job, Swasti. So proud of you and so excited for you, sweetheart.
Thank you. I watched the video as well. Thank you.
I'm excited for you to see that, and I'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And Patricia, how lovely to see you. How are you today? Oh, you're muted still, I think. I tried to unmute you, but I don't think it worked. There you go.
Okay, I'm fine.
Good.
Great.
Good. And do you have any questions or comments for today?
Well, today's my husband's birthday, so and he doesn't ever want anything, so. But one of the things, we are building a new house, and for like the last 6 weeks, they've been waiting on cabinets and having problems with the tile man coming in. One of the things is the COVID virus and stuff, and so they were coming from Florida, and so I've been sending this yellow ball to the contractor, to the cabinet makers, and I was like, I'm gonna have to call them today, but I don't want to call them. I'm just, you know. So I woke up this morning like, oh my God, I just got to keep throwing balls. And so at the beginning, I went away because my husband came and he says, did you call the people, Pat? And I said, yeah, I was going to call them. I said, no. He said, well, they're down there working. And I was like, whoa, yes, that's what. I didn't want to complain about. I understand the virus and all that. It's been a long time, and I'm like, at least work for my husband's birthday, fake it, or do something. Go in there, and it happened. So
isn't that brilliant?
Yeah. So I was like, this thing is working. This thing really works.
Yes, very good. You were sending out those yellow balls and reeling them in.
Yeah, I was like, oh, when he came in that door, I like, let me go speak and see what he's saying. And when he said that, I said, oh, And then I said, well, I'm going to go down there anyway. He says, no, they're working really hard. I said, don't go now. I said, okay, I won't go.
Good job. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Patricia, as well. That's wonderful news. Good job. Very good. And any questions or anything else you wanted to share today?
No, I'm just working on, I'm doing a whole lot of due justice and those other, and just throwing out the positive energy. I'm writing. I'm doing a lot of writing. So.
Good job.
But it's working. I like it. It really works. I don't know how, but it works.
Yes. That is wonderful to hear. That really is wonderful to hear. Good job. And thank you so much for coming here and sharing it, because, you know, whenever anyone shares anything that's, you know, how it's worked for them, and that is so encouraging and inspiring for others. So thank you so much, because it's very easy to get despondent when we hit the storms in life and that. So it's always good to hear these kind of success pieces. So thank you, Patricia.
All right, thank you all. Because I knew the negative comments I had to make. It was like, this is not what they said do. But I got to get some action. This stuff is not, I mean, you know, they're not working. And we need to get this house built.
Perfect. Good job. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
All right. So, Steve, any comments? Oh, I remember I got a question in the email, didn't I?
Yes, and there's another question that came in as well that I think is similar. Odille, what do you recommend we do when we feel discouraged about the lack of change in our experience? Should we redirect our focus, and I think the other question, I just sent you that one. You could probably, if you wanted to read that one, and you can address that one too.
Okay, lovely. So what do you when we feel discouraged about the lack of change in our experience, should we redirect it? Okay, very good. So thank you for asking that. So here's there's a few different things here. Number one, it's bearing in mind, and when you aren't discouraged is the time to really put this into practice, because it prepares you for when you do go through times when you're discouraged, is reminding yourself that it's not a straight line. It's not a straight line up. Like physical exercise, it does this. And like any change, like in learning any skill, it's up and down and up and down. And when you aren't seeing a change in your experience, that is like going through a storm. And you do what the thing you do not want to do is buy into it and pull over, get out of the car and treat it as your end destination. In other words, I noticed there's no change, and I'm thinking, well, why is there no change? And I've tried so hard, and what this is there, and in the past, and then that's the equivalent of getting out of the car and spending time in the storm as if that's all there is, as if that's the end destination. What you want to do is pin it for now and go, okay, so as that thought comes to you and goes, there is no change, go, okay. In fact, use the allowing technique. I keep forgetting we've got this fabulous new technique. Use the allowing technique so there's no change. So how does that feel? And just notice that feeling of nothing's changed. But don't buy into the meaning of it. So nothing's changed. Where in your body do you feel the feeling? Whatever. So for some people, it'll be disappointment. You've mentioned discouragement. Some people, it'll be frustration or anger or, hopelessness or helplessness, whatever that is. So whatever that emotion is, so in your case, discouraged, notice how you know you're discouraged. Where in your body do you feel discouraged, the feeling of discouraged? And then home in on the physical sensation of that. So just like, and if you need to put your hand on your leg to feel the sensation on your hand, the sensation on your leg, that's just a sensation, doesn't mean anything. And then, transfer that focus to the discouraged. Where in your body are you feeling that feeling of discouraged? And treat it as, home in on the sensation of it, no meaning. So every time a thought comes up, because the thoughts come up to give it meaning, just put it aside You'll come back to it. But what's the sensation? What is it? You know, is it a heart rate? Is it a, you know, fuzzy feeling? Is it a pressure feeling? What is it? And then allow it to be there. Allow that sensation to be there with no judgment, no meaning, no need to stop it or change it or make it go away. Just allow it to be there. And then you can also use that technique of Steve's of hospitality. So offer it a seat, let it sit down, come in, make yourself at home. You're all right. It's all right. It's okay. I'm not dying. And as you do that, notice what happens with that sensation. Does it change? Does it stay the same? Does it get more? Does it get less? Just noticing it like that starts to bring down the stress chemicals and allow you to get some space. Then step back from it and ask this discouragement what it needs. What do you need? And see if you don't get an answer, that's okay. If you get an answer, see if you can, so if it says, I need attention, I need love, I need a hug, I need acceptance, whatever that is, see if you can give that to this, you know, in your mind, of course, imagine giving that to this discouraged feeling. Once you've done all that, presumably you've brought down the stress chemicals a bit. Then, of course, look to your childhood. Where in your childhood did you feel this discouragement, this nothing's changing, whatever that feels like? And of course, change those references. Now, having said all of that, then moving forward, when you notice things haven't changed, treat it as this is a storm along the way. So I'm going to just, okay, so nothing's changed, never mind, and keep moving forward. So coming back to wonderfully to Sue's wagtails. So those birds that she was talking about in the beginning of this session, where they've got all kinds of stuff going on, you know, they get a ball comes in their way, or a wave comes to interrupt them, or the one lost its little foot or whatever. They just keep going. They don't give it meaning. They don't go, oh, well, my life's not changing, or everything's going wrong, or I'm frightened. Because they don't have I mean, if they had the ability, they would do that, but they don't have the ability to think that way. They don't have the ability to think, to give meaning to anything. So they get knocked over, they get up, they keep moving forward. Their focus is on what they want. And so that's what we can choose in the moment. You get knocked over, and for us, it's not so easy because we've got those automatic thoughts. So then do whatever it takes to distract yourself while you drive through the storm. So that means, like, if you're in a car, you put on an audio book, put on music, a radio, sing, do whatever it takes to just distract yourself and make yourself feel better as you're driving through that storm. The equivalent is watch a comedy, play a game, go to sleep if you need to, focus on whatever will feel better in this moment, knowing that even though it seems like nothing's changing, it is. It's just, it's not on the surface yet. Just like when you plant a plant, you plant seeds, you can't see what's happening until eventually it starts showing above the ground. But until then, it looks like absolutely nothing is happening, right? So you keep watering it every day. You don't dig it up to check. You leave it there. You keep watering it, and eventually it will, as long as you keep watering it and looking after it, it starts to show. So I hope that helps. Do the allowing technique. Yes, good, very good. And okay, so I hope that helps. And Carrie, and if you need more, let me know. And Steve, oh yes, so this is the question I received by email. Thank you, Steve. So the question is, I would like to ask you if you could tell me, how should my daily routine look with all the practice I learned from you? What I mean is, should I practice daily my parents' childhood, then my parents, then mine, which is all my childhood, new changed memories all day long? Is that right? I have probably asked this many questions, okay, and I'm getting bored with doing the same things. Actually, I'm getting bored with very fast with repeating things. Doesn't matter what it is. I can't do too long the same thing over and over. It's so boring. Can you tell me one more time, how should I work with all my new memories? Okay, so this is brilliant. Thank you very much for this question. And there are two parts to it. The first part, which is answering the question of what should the daily routine look like? Do I need to practice my new memories all day? So the answer to that is it'll depend on the person. So everybody try different things, find what works for you. If you are feeling fabulous all day, then that's great. You don't need to be practicing your memories. But once they're established. So you do want to practice them when they're new. So when you first create a memory, you want to practice it until it's established in the same way you practice a new phone number. So you know when you can stop repeating your phone number in your mind because you know it, right? You say it and it's there. And what's my phone number? And it's the first one that comes to mind, not the old one. The new one that comes to mind first, not the old one. So it's like that with the memories, with the new memories. So you want to practice them until they feel familiar and established and they feel real. Beyond that, you want to, just bring them up when you need them. So when you start to feel like, or you find yourself going into an old pattern, bring up a new memory and redirect your subconscious to that new reference, that new proof of what your new destination. Okay, so you don't have to be doing it all day. What you do want to do all day is practice the superpower. That you want to do all day. So practicing aiming at inanimate objects and people and random strangers and thoughts and that you want to make sure that you're practicing your superpower, targeting stuff, even just inanimate objects all day, because every time you do that, that'll strengthen your skill for when you do need it. All right, so I hope that answers that part of the question. Now, of course, the second part of the question is the getting bored. And so the fact that you say, I can't do the same thing over and over too long because it's so boring, that indicates to me that there's a reference there for that. So let's have a look at what I suggest is you think, okay, so what's that feeling? Why is it boring to do the same thing over and over? What is that feeling of it's boring? Allow that boredom to be there. To use the allowing exercise and go, right, so I'm doing the same thing over and over again. And you don't have to actually be doing, just imagine doing the same thing over and over again. And notice that feeling of boredom. Where in my body do I feel this boredom? What does it feel like? What's the sensations? And then allow it to be there, offer it a seat, use the hospitality. Notice what happens as you do that, step back from it, have it in front of you and ask it what it needs. What does this boredom need? If this boredom was an entity, what do you need? See if you can give that to it. So once you've done all that, then where in your childhood did you experience the doing something over and over and getting bored with it? And it's going to be there probably somewhere. And we don't know what kind of topic it will be, but it'll be, now, either for everybody listening as well, either it'll be your own experience of doing something over and over and getting bored, or it'll be someone someone you grew up with who was bored with doing something over and over, who set that example for you. So perhaps someone complaining that their job is boring, or that they're tired of picking up after everybody over and over, or there's a whole lot of options there. All right, so hopefully that helps. And I know that person isn't on the call at the moment. You're going to be watching the recording, so let me know if you need more clarity on that. And any others, Steve, any other questions?
No, no other questions, but it looks like there's growing support for you applying to be a TED speaker. So I think you might have to push toward that a little bit more now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've been wanting to do a TED talk for a long time. Yes, so we have to look into that, because there's quite a thing to get the.
Yeah, it looks like there may be a nomination process as well. So I think we should probably take a look at that and see what's there.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, that would be a lot of fun. Yes, I've been wanting to do that for a while. So thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. That's very sweet of you. Alrighty then, so let's go into the targeting then. So Steve, if you could send me the target, please, and let's go in. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm sorry, I have to stop there for a moment. That is just so weird. So we've just been talking about the TED Talks and the, all of that you've just said now. And I see Swasti, thank you so much. So Swasti has posted a link for speaker nominations for TED.com. And as I pulled this window down to make it, to minimize it, there's an email right at the top of my emails here that says TEDx Naperville, introducing TEDx Naperville 2020. And it's basically advertising one of their TEDx events. And that is the one that I was that I'd looked into applying to before. Isn't that funny timing? What a fabulous coincidence. All right, lovely. Okay, everybody. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer, and go into your superpower state, however you normally do that. So by repeating your word or phrase, using your anchor, or focusing on your subject and everything you love and appreciate about them. Very good. And remember, you can use your color if it helps, if it makes it easier. And feel your heart expanding, that opening feeling in your chest. And allow that light, that energy to shine out from you. Your power. Very good. And then allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're full of that light, that energy, that love. Good job. And now allow that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each cell just for existing. Good job, very good. Now allow that light or energy to fill to fill your subject. Loving that subject just as they are, and then imagine they don't want to be with you, or they don't have the qualities that you love and admire about them. Keep them filled with that light, that energy anyway. Love them just for existing, no matter what. Very good. And now let's go to Sue. Fill Sue with that light, that energy. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Sue just for existing. And now allow that light, that energy to fill Sue's arm. No matter what, love Sue's arm just for existing exactly as it is. No expectations, no judgment, just loving it exactly as it is, no matter what. Shining that light into any darkness. Very good. And now to Lisa. Fill Lisa with that same light, that energy. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Lisa just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Lisa and fill her friend who's incarcerated. Fill Lisa's friend from the tips of his toes to the top of his head and out to his fingertips. Love Lisa's friend exactly as he is, just for existing and no matter what. Very good. And now allow that light, that energy to overflow from Lisa's friend, to shine out from him and fill everything and everyone around him with that powerful light, that energy, that love, shining that light into any darkness, loving everything, everyone, exactly as it is, no matter what. Very, very good. And now to Swasti. Fill Swasti with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Swasti, just for existing. Very good. And now to Patricia. Fill Patricia with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Patricia, just for existing. Good job. And now to everyone who's off camera today and everyone watching the recording. Fill all of them with the same light, this energy, this love. From the tips of their toes to the top of their head and out to their fingertips, love each one, just for existing. Good job. And allow yourself to receive that light, that energy, that love from everyone else. Loving you just for existing. No judgments, no requirements, no expectations. Exactly as you are. And now allow that light, that energy to fill you later today, that version of yourself. Loving that version of you exactly as you are, no matter what you'll be experiencing or feeling or doing. Shining that light, filling that version of you. And then pick a target, either in your life or in the world, that triggers you, and fill that target with the same light, this energy, this love, shining the light into the darkness and loving it all anyway, exactly as it is. That's your power. Very, very good. And surge. Very good. And surge again. Good job. All right. You can open your eyes if you had them closed. Thank you so much, everyone. I think that was a really powerful one today. So I know that it's going to be really helpful for others as well. And for you, if you rewatch the recording and all of that. So thank you all so much. And we're so proud and excited for all of you. And lots of love. And we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. And look after yourselves and keep practicing. Bye-bye now.